2 titles to fight for in 2025. Welcome to the AVP League Week 3 from Miami. It's a battle of New York as they have headed south and to an iconic place, the Wayfair Arena, the perfect setting as we get set for Quiggle, Rice, Denenberg, and Donlin. Brooklyn sits at 3 and 4 with their men's and women's pairing combined, but the load has been carried by this duo of Denenberg and Donlin, the unbeaten duo. Hi everyone, Cameron Irwin alongside the 2-time Olympian Rich Lamborn. And when we look to the Cup standings, one team is definitely pulling a little bit of the weight on the side of Brooklyn. What has impressed you about this team?
Well, they're just so physical out there, especially in these conditions where kind of indoor wind and so forth, not a factor, and they both go up and just hammer the ball, not only from the net, from the end line, and they have kind of an unusual sort of makeup, particularly for the women's side, in that they split block. So they're both kind of splitting those duties. They can deal with option offenses a little bit better. They've just been consistent throughout and impressive. Well,
and they've taken down the Olympic silver medalist along with another Olympian just last night. We'll dig into them a bit more here in a second as we take a look at the AVP Cup standings. Again, this is a combination of both the men's and women's win-loss record to be able to create that percentage. So LA had an outstanding, flawless, perfect week 2 in San Diego, going 4-0, and then Palm Beach now sits at 4-2. They have played in 2 events, this being their second here in Miami. You'll get a chance to see them next up on the sand on the CW. And then you continue back down as the New York Nitro. They just picked up their first win thanks to the help of Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander. But here's the duo we've been discussing, Denenberg and Donlin. 3 rookies in this matchup. Pretty astonishing when you take a look at the league format. But the Brooklyn Blaze, it's been all about Denenberg and Donlin, the products of the collegiate ranks. You talked about their physicality, but last night, Julia Donlin went off, 16 kills, 591. I mean, how do you slow down someone that physical?
It's very difficult, and Megan Rice at the net's going to have her hands full. Corinne Quiggle on the backcourt also going to have her hands full, because both of these ladies can hammer some of the more impressive attacks we've ever seen coming from Donlin last night.
Without a doubt, there's a look at Lexi Denenberg. She is from Florida, just 24 years old, as she stands at 6 foot tall. She's a product of the UCLA Bruins. And for Julia Donlin, well, it was a crosstown rival. She's originally from North Carolina, but out of USC and the Trojans. Denenberg's got plenty of family in the stands as we take a look to the other side. The New York Nitro played just their first match last night. 2 rookies coming in, 4 rookies on the women's side. Here's 2 for you.
Yeah, absolutely. They are physical in their own right. Megan Rice, incredible jumping ability. She'll be formidable at the net and also in attacking from the service line. Corinne Quiggle, coming off a hip injury a couple years ago, just keeps getting better and better and better as she kind of settles back into that comfort physically, I think, in recuperation, and she's a great defender.
Here's a look at Megan Rice. She will be your blocker. She is just 6 foot tall, and I say that because we got a couple 6'2" and 6'4" blockers in the league. But she plays much taller than she is. That's according to her partner, Corinne Quiggle.
Yeah, she's very explosive on the sand.
Lexi Denenberg, Julia Donlin, like you mentioned, are a split blocking duo. We'll give you the ins and outs of exactly how that works. We'll see it play out here on this first serve. Donlin with the missed serve to get it started. They had 10 service errors last night, even though they came away with the 2-1 win.
Well, yeah, set 1 for them got a little bit dicier than it needed to be on kind of the back of some of those service errors, and they lost set 2 pretty handily. Again, just having trouble finding the court. They made a nice adjustment in set 3 to wrap up that win last night by kind of staying down, just putting the ball in play, trusting their defense. They want to be able to find the court with these formidable jump serves, however.
Denenberg works with the jump float. And there's the craftiness of Corinne Quiggle. Let's check in with Kevin Barnett down on the sand.
Thanks, Cam. A little game plan update here. First for the Blaze, talked to Lexi Denenberg, and you saw him last night have 10 service errors through 2 sets. She said, we may go to more jump float. I actually think the jump float is more effective in the building with it falling off a shelf. feel like we can get more value there. So if the jumpers aren't there with the pressure, you might see him switch earlier. On the other side for the Nitro, for Megan Rice, it's all about getting her involved. Can Corinne Quiggle pass the ball high, get the angle there for the attack on 2, and can MJ be super aggressive from the line and keep the ball in? So serve is going to play a huge role in this matchup.
Yeah, great call by you, Kevin. Megan only saw 5 attempts in their match last night, had 4 kills, but definitely was not the target from the side-out game, and for good reason.
Rocking and rolling from the service line thus far.
Kevin also talked about just the pressure put on Corinne Quiggle to push that pass forward. Be interesting to see how she alleviates some of that on the right side.
Yeah, it helps if the rocket jump serves aren't coming your way. Probably controlling that first contact. You'll see the Blaze already having a little bit of difficulty dealing with this jump serve from Megan as that one goes wide, unfortunately.
So the split blocking duo, Julia Donlin will serve and play defense. Our partner up at the net, Lexi Denneberg. And her second missed serve for the Brooklyn Blaze. They better be careful here.
Yeah, I like what they're doing right now. They've got Denneberg jump floating, kind of freeing up Donlin to go after her jump serve, but she's got to find some rhythm or she's got to abandon it.
Donlin was a member of the LA Launch last season. Changed teams, changed partners, and changed positions as well. Now blocker and defender.
Yeah, just a little bit of a slow start here for the Blaze, but also credit the good defense of the New York Nitro. Corinne Quiggle picking up everything right now.
And another miss serve.
Yeah, if you're the Nitro, you got to be careful to not end your own scoring runs. That's twice now they've ended their own scoring runs with service mistakes. You got to keep your kind of foot on the throat of the Blaze. Oh, yeah.
That is called a double contact on Megan Rice, and even there, the platform on the right side of Corinne getting a little dicey.
Yeah, arguing that call, but I think it's the correct call because she's kind of facing sideways. If you're squared up and it comes out a little squirrely, it's a little bit different.
Corinne finds the corner.
I think Corinne can have some pretty good success offensively. You know, she's less physical than the other 3, let's say, in this match. Moves the ball around very well, though. And I think that is maybe the most difficult for the Blaze to track down defensively.
Corinne Quiggle out of Pepperdine. She is a national champion in 2017 as that ball is well off the net for the Brooklyn Blaze. And there's the power of Donlin. I mean, she's 6 feet off.
Yeah, just tees off from everywhere. And it's, you know, I like just going after your serve if you're Megan Rice. She's doing well thus far. But if you can get it over to Denneberg, it's probably slightly better.
They fake the option. And we saw Megan Rice pull out the pause yesterday. She said it's an area she's really been focused on, adding a new wrinkle into their offensive mix.
Yeah, that one works out. I would not go heavy on the dosage of jump setting. I just don't think the benefit is there to be doing that, and you risk doubling that ball.
Another miss serve.
Yeah, again, similar to what the Blaze are doing, where Denneberg's kind of going to her float serve. If you're Quiggle, you've got to make sure you're making that serve all the time so that Megan has the ability, the freedom to go after her jump serve.
And that's Quiggle unloading with the cross court. She saw 20 attempts in their match last night, came away with double-digit kills, but also 6 errors thrown in. Add 1 more to the errors on the stat sheet.
Yeah, that's why you need to, if you're the float server on the team, you need to make your serve at almost a perfect level.
That ball troublesome for Quiggle. Does Donlin unload? More power. They've got 2 blockers up front. Both pull. Avoids the ceiling to the Brooklyn Blaze. The hands pulled out again, and chiseling is Quiggle.
That was a phenomenal dig from Quiggle on the heater from Donlin to keep that alive and ultimately win the point for the Nitro.
This is where the New York Nitro feel like they're at their strength, turning points on the defensive side. Tempo. And the short line.
Yeah, good touch from Denneberg. So important to vary the depth of your shots. As you can see, Quiggle all over kind of the deeper part of the line, but hard to move laterally and kind of north to south all at the same time.
This time from the center of the court, and Denneberg sends that to the other side. Tight ball is housed by Donlin.
Yeah, the effort pays off for Denneberg, just kind of spearing it, keeping it alive. And a little bit of a missed contact from Quiggle. It's the ball tight and right into the Donlin zone.
The airspace belongs only to her.
And both of these teams just kind of not managing the game extremely well right now. Letting the other side off the hook with some of those service mistakes.
It's 4 errors on the side of Rice and Quiggle from the service line, and 2 from Denneberg and Donlin. Or excuse me, make that 3. Look for the option. Tries to find it on the turn.
Yeah, just not as crisp as we've seen them tonight, the Blaze, at least in this opening set.
At Brooklyn is 3-0 on the season on the women's side. They have 2 3-set victories, one over Humana Paredes and Wilkerson, as well as one over Chang and Shaw from last night. And they also earned the 2-0 win over Rodriguez and Urango in week 1 in Del Rey. Back set, well dished, and no one's digging that.
Yeah, great angle from Megan Rice. A little bit surprising to see that ball kind of float her way. So that's kind of what she's capable of and why most people avoid her.
Give her the highlight. Denneberg finds the seam.
Yeah, good swing there from Denneberg. Really nice set. They've got to clean up their first ball reception a little bit on the side of the Blaze.
Can they make a move here late in set 1? Push set, well off the net and hammered. 14-11 New York Nitro.
Kind of surprisingly, another one into Megan Rice.
I mean, just look at how high she is above the net.
And no thoughts whatsoever of shooting that ball. She's just going full guns blazing.
Set point for the Nitro. Crafty option.
Like you said in our previous match, Kim, the level of difficulty on that swing should not be overlooked. That ball's spinning kind of the opposite way, high, and she's on the wrong side, so to speak, and still pulls that off beautifully. 3rd ball in a row into Megan Rice.
And she just again continues to unload as an attacker. Set 1 belongs to Quiggle and Rice. They're looking for their first win in 2025. Right now, this is the perfect start for the New York Nitro. Crab and Sander gonna coach them up before set number 2. 1 in set number 1, but a set filled with errors as you get a little dodgeball here in Miami, and errors specifically from the service line. I mean, dip, dive, dodge, duck, and dodge?
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
You can dodge a wrench.
Yeah.
You can dodge a ball.
This is one of my favorite parts of this, is that net's so low that guys can't really, they throw it into the net a lot. Yeah, that was a good shot. You really got to work on that rock skipping form where you sling it low.
Where's Patrick Mahomes when you need him? Someone's going to tear a rotator cuff on this.
Oh, there you go. Oh!
The late shot. It was almost a distraction tactic.
Yeah, that was chess by the young fella right there. He sacrificed his pawn to get the victory.
Didn't know I signed up to call play-by-play for dodgeball. Well, sure, why not? Pretty much call play-by-play for anything at this point. As you take a look at the set 1 stats, I mean, some big-time numbers on the side of New York.
Yeah, they were very impressive offensively, and shocking to see that low of a number on the side of the Blaze offensively, because we talked about their physicality, but you have to credit the pressure that the New York Nitro were able to keep on them, even with all the service mistakes. They just kind of trusted in their defense the times they did make it into the court.
They always talk about that ace to error ratio, and it feels like the game has shifted now with the league format. And in that vein, 5 service errors on the side of Rice and Quiggle, and 3 on the side of Denenberg Donlin. 0 aces from both sides of the net as set 2 begins. Yeah,
that's the problem, is you're not getting any sort of direct dividends to offset all those mistakes. You can withstand some strikeouts so long as you're hitting home runs, but you can't deal with all the service errors if it's not getting you any aces.
Another high ball from MJ Rice. Let's check in now. Kevin Barnett.
Ken, we've made so much about the teams and the male and female counterparts and how they relate. Well, for the Nitro, how nice is this? You have an actual coach now in your box. Taylor Crabb is an actual coach at St. Mary's, and so I asked him about talking to players in those moments between sets and between plays, and what do you try and give him? He said, look, I just try and give him, especially here at the pro level, which is a little bit different, I try and give him a little tidbit, something I see that maybe they haven't seen, not dig too much into their game, let them manage that. And during that time between these 2 sets, Taylor chimed in with a couple of things, then Corinne took over for a little while, Taylor waited his turn, came back in with another little tidbit. So maybe a huge advantage for the growth of the New York Nitro and this rookie side.
Yeah, that's a great point. And also rehearsing the delivery method for the past year. Pretty impressive from Taylor Crabb. Again, there's Corinne Quiggle with the scoop. Option play, perfectly placed from Quiggle. Right back to that defense.
And she's lining up Donlin beautifully right now, because that's a couple big cranks from Donlin that we've seen be handled by Quiggle. I don't want to say easily, but perfectly at the very least.
Donlin only saw 4 attempts in set number 1. Not surprised to see her try and get uber aggressive here to start the second.
Yeah, Quiggle tried to sneak one in on her sideline there, but just missed.
Nine service errors now.
Yeah, that's likely 10 with that miss, as our guy Doug handing you the notes.
As I look down, another one came up. Yesterday, I got a chance to be down on the sand, and you really get a different perspective, a different vantage point to Megan Rice's serve and just the amount of elevation she gets. It's reminiscent of Brandy Wilkerson. There's that heavy spin and right back to the option play.
Yeah, that one almost more out of necessity, but well handled. Julia Donlin just kind of being proactive with that. No tentativeness. What'd you call that? The panda paw?
The panda poke.
Oh, panda poke. Yeah, that inexcusable, these kind of standing float serve mistakes from both sides, really. It's I'm sure it's frustrating as a player. It's frustrating as a spectator.
You know, you got to put pressure on the other side, but you also can't give away free points. The threshold is definitely been eclipsed.
Yeah, there's no correct answer for what that threshold is, but you think you got to have at least an ace for every 2 to 3 service mistakes.
You just saw it there on the graphic, 10 total service errors, 0 aces. There's the move from Donlin. She's been working on that defense, but she doesn't have the southpaw.
Yeah, and every opportunity they have had seems to have been dodged in one way or another by the Nitro, whether it's a good dig from Quiggle or this time just a poor set in transition from Denneberg.
I mean, these two have slayed some absolute giants in the league. Denneberg and Donlin. Right now, they're facing off against a rookie pairing, and they're in some hot water. Beautiful set off a high pass.
Yeah, the confidence to break out the balls on that high spinner, impressive as well.
I saw her set up, and I caught my breath. I got nervous for her. Denneberg utilizing all the equipment. Solid crawl from Quiggle, but a point stays to Denneberg and Donlin.
Yeah, that's a really nice aggressive cut in transition from Denneberg because it was pretty close to the net. MJ really quite close to getting that block. But that's why you take that good hard swing, because if things aren't perfect, it'll rattle its way through.
It's the first 2-point lead in set number 2, make it a 3-point lead. New York didn't trail at any point in set number 1. Right now on the end change, they're down by 3. Brooklyn Blaze trying to shore up their serves as you see the attack numbers now on screen.
And who's rooting for the New York Nitro, Corinne?
Talked about Corinne Quiggle and her journey back to the sand. Last year, she did have a hip surgery. It was a full 6-month recovery. She said she got so antsy to get back on the sand, she started hitting down balls about the 2.5-month mark. She even went on the assault bike with just her arms. And if you know what an assault bike is, it's misery. To do it with half of your levers, even worse. Add that into your training regimen, Rich? Mr.
No, I was thinking it was a good reason to not get hip surgery, so I don't have to do the assault bike with just the arms.
Might be able to break a record, though.
No, that I've done it as kind of a warm-up for your shoulders and so forth with just the arms, and it's incredibly difficult.
Donlin goes with the jump float instead. Here's the dig. Quiggle finds herself in a perfect position once, but not twice.
Yeah, she's lining up Donlin pretty well, particularly in transition. And kind of that relentless offensive onslaught from the Brooklyn Blaze, leading to a timeout for the Nitro.
A 5-1 run, and kind of a fun fact between these two teams. Last season, Julia Donlin was actually partnered up alongside Betsy Flynn for the LA launch. Well, Betsy is now pregnant. Congratulations to Betsy and Chase, of course, now with baby number 2 on the way. But she is now the coach of the team on the other side of the net in Megan Rice and Corinne Quiggle. And it actually all came back to an alumni matchup when Megan was talking with her and asking, hey, maybe you want to get out on the sand, you want to play? And she kind of gave her the brush off, like maybe, wouldn't commit, wasn't sure, and the next thing you know, she finds out a call later. Oh yeah, I'm actually pregnant, I'm really sorry about that. And lo and behold, you got Quiggle and Rice now on the sand next to one another. For each of those athletes, their former partners actually were from Florida. They had practiced against each other multiple times. They knew each other's game well. Decided that it was the perfect fit.
Yeah, it's been a good fit thus far. They got a little work left to do here, though.
Julia Donlin. She's partnered up for a first season alongside Lexi Denneberg. with some indecision.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch kind of the mind work there as that play developed. Wasn't sure whether she was going to go or pull off for the shot. Ends up pulling off, and Megan with kind of the easy put away.
Slowing the 5-1 run now, the New York Nitro. Massive toss. Finds the top of the tape. Again, Nitro with set 1 in hand. Brooklyn picks up this second. We'll move on to number 3. High set slightly inside, still turned to the line.
Yeah, the dagger that is the blocker netting while the defender digs the ball.
You can almost count on it. Some depth to that serve. Donlin works wide to the right side and finds the easy cut.
Taking a little off. Nice pickup.
Donlin gets roofed. That's what you get for digging.
Yeah, I mean, but it's interesting how, I don't know, how terminal she was last night and how much, I don't want to say struggling necessarily, but Quiggles dug her quite a few times. MJ gets that block. Just maybe not kind of finding some of the angles we saw from her yesterday evening.
What a time to have your first block of the match for Rice. Tries to reach high on that one, and another error. Brooklyn looks like they are losing this second set, but they have the 2-point advantage.
Yeah, they're going to work on the body language just a touch here. Ooh. It's one of those ones that's fortunately long because it looked like it was an I got it, you take it kind of a situation.
Fighting with the sideline is Quiggle. Tight ball. Somehow kept alive.
Oh, wow.
And Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the correct call.
I agree. 4 touches. Explain, Rich.
I thought the call was going to go differently.
Actually, I don't know. It looked like MJ touched that first.
Yeah, I thought it was simultaneous contact, so I thought the number of touches was okay, but what I thought was off was that she redirected it as the attacker, so it was an open-handed contact is what I thought. I mean, either way, the ball goes the correct direction in favor of the New York Nitro. Things getting a little dicey.
Yeah, this is getting tight. Now 12-13. Again, it was 13-10. And all of a sudden, Quiggle and Rice, who have set 1 in hand, are looking to close this out in just 2.
Yeah, things were not looking good for the Nitro moments ago, but they've just kind of stayed the course. Gotten the benefit of a couple hitting mistakes from the Brooklyn Blaze and Lexi Denneberg.
There's a 5-1 run in the middle to bring it to a close contest. Now a 4-1 run. Quiggle and Rice are winning on the efficiency side. There's that Taylor Crabb coaching them up. So on the other side for Denneberg Donlin, a few errors on the side of Denneberg. Where might she look to attack against Quiggle and Rice on this side out?
Well, I mean, I think the first order of business is just controlling the serve, right? If that first service reception contact is good, everything's kind of working in her favor. When those are off and you're kind of tracking the ball over your shoulder, that's when your vision is limited, your range is a little bit limited, and I think that's when some of those errors start to creep in.
We got 12, looking at 13. Set number 2.
Surging are the New York Nitro.
Oh, yeah. Far too many of those far too many of those both
Cannot
ways.
miss a serve coming out of a timeout.
Yeah, especially when you're right on the heels of this team. You know, they've been ahead most of the way here in set number 2.
Set point for Brooklyn. Corinne takes a cut.
It's a nice swing from Quiggle. They've got to come up with one here. Does MJ have a little magic from the end line?
She had been serving from that right side. This time she's going to stand on the ground and come from the left. Line-to-line serve for the set. And dials it in. Denneberg finds your offense when they need it to close out set number 2. So we are going to set number 3. Why not? Between New York and Brooklyn, both the men's and now the women's. They'll meet for the coin toss to figure out who has side and serve. Donlin hitting .607 on the season thus far. Right now, 0.
Yeah, that's a good season number. It's an incredible season number, and that's why it's so surprising to see her struggle a little bit offensively. But Denneberg having a few issues of her own as well.
So Denneberg hitting .353, but in that second set, it was 400. She had 6 kills, 2 errors, those 2 just at the conclusion of that second set. Both of these attackers actually hit over 500 last night. As you look to the other side for the New York Nitro, Quiggle and Rice, I mean, pretty outstanding in terms of their overall. MJ Rice hitting 800 on the match. She's 8 for 10, hasn't had a single hitting error. And there's the ace to error ratio.
Yeah, if you're the New York Nitro, you need to make more serves here in this third set. You're still holding Brooklyn to an unbelievably low hitting efficiency number, which is impressive. But when that's the case with the offense on the other side, the premium on keeping it on them goes up even more.
I mean, it's crazy to think that in set 1 they had 5 missed serves, set 2 another 5 missed serves on the side of the New York Nitro. That is a third of the match, or excuse me, a third of each set just given away.
Sure, yeah, it's and yet they won the first set, and they were kind of right there at the end of the second set.
We got to adjust our own brains, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, but similarly to what we saw from the Blaze last night, they need to make that adjustment and see if they can't steal this third.
They throw the angle block and front line defense, but don't walk away with it. Brooklyn Blaze. For the New York Nitro, Corinne has said that they love playing in the chaos. Let's see what kind of chaos they can stir up in set 3.
Yeah, again, that's a good first contact, good service reception from Denneberg. Kind of keeps everything in front of her. She's able to go with that little 60% chop shot.
Option and Donlin about a step and a half behind, not even able to hit the sand there.
Yeah, crafty, well disguised from Megan Rice that time.
Throw one more service error into the mix. They're starting right back where they finished off. Let's check in with Kevin Barnett.
Thanks, Cam. You might wonder what happens, where's all this sand come from to construct this beach inside of Wayfair Arena? Well, you're looking at 300 tons of sand, and that equates to 30 dump trucks worth of sand. But they can't bring it in via dump truck. Normally, you take the dump truck, you drive it right to where the court's going to be and drop it off. But here in Wayfair Arena, they have small doors, so it had to be brought in via skid steer, and that is 400 trips of a skid steer to bring it into the building. It took 10 to 12 hours, and it took 14 inches off of a wall. They had a little collision, had to repair the wall, but ended up getting the court built. After this is over tonight, yeah, the same 400 loads need to go out of the arena and back to the dump trucks. Now you might wonder, where's that sand going when we're done with it here? 2 places here in Florida. One, it's going to go to the city here where the location of Wayfair Arena is located for hurricane preparation. That's about half of it. The other half of it is really going to hurt Cameron's golf game down in Fort Lauderdale as they fill up the sand traps.
Oh, that's a great job, Kev. I'm just trying to figure out where the skid steer came from. 400 trips is exhaustive. An amazing job by our crew here with the AVP League, building one iconic venue after another. Our first time here in Wayfair Arena. I surely hope we get a chance to come back. I don't know, the crew might be thinking otherwise after those 400 trips.
Right, if you're the skid steer operator, the 400 trips might be long for the days of driving the dump truck straight into the center court.
I want to know who did the demolition, got to take out a wall. Here's Corinne Quiggle. Right in the midst of set 3, what a pull and dig, Denneberg.
Goodness. Is that going to be the Kevin Barnett coin multiplier for the Brooklyn Blaze? Because that was huge, a chance to go up 6-3 in this 3rd set for the New York Nitro. Fought off incredibly well. Lexi Denneberg with that pull dig.
A remarkable swing. Quiggle, 10 kills, 10 digs. She's looking for her 11th. This ball has to go over the net. Unfortunately, it doesn't go the distance.
That one is properly called for contacts, Cam.
You ever officiated a game? Have you ever officiated a game?
No, not officially. In my mind, from my chair.
Option play works. Sent right back to the left side.
And that's a nice turn on that ball from Donlin. Not easy to kind of have all your momentum going towards the back corner, come across your body for that kill.
You hear the change of call. Great job on miking up the courts, really listening in on that communication.
Yeah, and that one doesn't clear the net, angle or otherwise, unfortunately for Quiggle, so the score now level at 6. And remember, just moments ago, the Nitro had a swing to be up 6-3.
And again, once more, slowing the momentum. Quiggle and Rice with the 1-point advantage.
Once again, New York, Brooklyn, this rivalry matchup, 2nd straight match, going 3.
Just 2 women's teams have remained undefeated. Denneberg Donlin, the first, the second, the LA Launch has a block, mounts the lead, 8-6 now, the Nitro.
Yeah, good stuff from Megan Rice at the net, especially just being disciplined. That set from Donlin getting a little bit off the net, so you can see Denneberg kind of leaning back, loses her vision a little bit. Megan Rice just solid on the line.
I feel like that was where some of the errors started to come in too for Denneberg in the end of set number 2. Just some of those sets kind of getting pulled out or wide.
Yeah, everything in front of her there, nicely done. Sets in a good position. She also passes the ball well, so she can kind of stay back and keep everything out in front.
All 3 attackers now in double-digit kills. Rice and Quiggle each with 10.
Oh yeah, a little wonky off the hands.
The second conversation MJ's had with our up official.
Yeah, I would love to know what those conversations are, because, you know, from our vantage point, the pantomime's always the same. She's got kind of both her hands out in full extension.
I think saying they're finishing at the same rate.
Yeah.
She throws out the hands this time and finds a good one. Julia Donlin has said that she plays her best when her back's against the wall with a little adversity in front of her. She finds herself in that exact position right now. She took some off of that. Denneberg tight to the net and then swings from 5 feet off.
Yeah, again, that set getting a little bit farther off. Denneberg deals with it nicely up the middle this time, but that's something they've got to clean up a little bit on the side of the Blaze.
Yeah, it's a great view from our overhead camera just to see the distance off the net. Another from 5 feet off. Oh. Walloped by MJ.
Yeah, it'll be interesting now as we're kind of the latter third of this final set to see how many opportunities MJ Rice gets. The answer should be very few, if any, I would think.
Her 11th kill of the match. She's hitting over 700 as a timely ace comes about. The rookie duo of Quiggle and Rice with a 2-point lead.
Not to beat a dead horse, so to speak, but that's why you keep the serve in, because that's not a particularly tough serve, but you serve it out, you don't get the advantage of those just accidental mistakes. Great touch, great body control from Donlin. Their back is firmly against the wall right now. Like they like. I like my back against the wall, but that's because I'm old and my legs get tired.
Did you skip leg day?
Never.
Few groans on that contact from Rice. Another set from well off.
That was a sticky contact too.
I'm glad that ball fell out of bounds because there would have been some conversation had there. Donlin just casually looks at the up official and says, yeah, you know what that was.
Yeah, I mean, they had an argument based on the standard that's been set in this match. They had an argument on the set, and the overhand dig was a little sticky. That's more of a judgment call because, I always feel like if we were to argue it out, she didn't lift that ball. Her hands were kind of on top of it, so there's no way it stopped on her hands, but it just doesn't pass the smell test, or, however you want to say it.
11 all as that hits high on the chest of Corinne Quiggle. Quiggle with another read on Donlin.
Again, this is off.
And delivers another strike right up the middle. Just the first Brooklyn lead this entire set.
Wow. Realistically, I mean, that's just tremendous work from Denneberg because, again, that set kind of tracking off the net, and it needs to be doing the exact opposite. She's finding that middle pretty consistently.
They go right back to pushing Corinne Quiggle deep into the court, and a timeout immediately called. An error. Have they found their serving target?
Wow. Wow. Couple heartbreakers right there back to back from the New York Nitro.
A 4-0 run and an emphatic high five from Julia Donlin. You saw it, just 14 attacks. She came into this match with 41 kills on just 56 attempts, hitting 607. It's been a game of keep away from Julia Donlin in this match.
Yeah, Quiggle's had quite a good beat on her, though, particularly in transition. So we talked about her numbers at the top of this set. She hasn't exactly been lighting it on fire by her standards.
And there's an update. Now 17 total attacks, 5 kills.
And 4 errors, which means 1 for 17 efficiency-wise, which is not a large number, Cam.
Donlin has been working on her defense, though. Again, now playing in that split blocking system. She's been working on her passing, her vision offensively. So many pieces coming to life here and the success that they've had in this new partnership.
Yeah, and one of the hallmarks of good and successful teams, of course, is finding ways to win when you don't have your A game or your best, or however you want to think about it. And right now, Brooklyn Blaze in pretty good position to try and do that. Ooh, yeah.
And
again,
another call, and this time it's a thumbs up.
Yeah, that's a tough moment for that to happen, but again, the correct call. And 3 match points for the Brooklyn Blaze, kind of against all odds.
A 5-0 run for Denneberg and Donlin. There's the dig. Good hustle, but unable to get that secondary contact.
Yeah, I love that hustle. Had a great coach in college named Troy Tanner, who was a star on the AVP for a long time. Said you never know unless you go.
It's a great call. Another match point here. Brooklyn to remain undefeated. Quiggle with the scoop and the turn. Dishing out a perfect delivery.
Not a huge fan of that choice. I'm always in favor of the aggression, especially on match point if you got a couple of them. You don't want to saunter across the finish line. You want to get there emphatically and blow through the finish line tape.
Was the second match point, now a third. Again, you must win by 2. Denver Donlin, Quiggle Rice, timeout taken. And curious to know what's the conversation here. You see the setting move from MJ. They won't have to see that unless they, of course, find the transition and turn, which is what they need to even the score. Miami is getting pumped up as this is nearing the conclusion of our matchup between Brooklyn and New York. A match still to come. Join us on the CW as we get set for Palm Beach and Miami. Three rookies on the sand. Denneberg might have a chance to close this one out. A third match point opportunity for the Brooklyn Blaze. She evens the sand and anticipates the serve.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, ice water in her veins. Follows that all the way to the end line, lets it drop, and it is 6 inches away from devastation. Instead, it's elation.
That's a very glasses half full way to characterize that. But yeah, good fortune for the Blaze there.
15-13. The Brooklyn Blaze drop set 1, find sets 2 and 3, and they are 4-0. The Brooklyn Blaze on the women's side continuing to be a front for anyone they face. A 3-set victory. The New York Nitro are going to look to have to rebound their next week on the AVP League. Join us next on the sand on the CW.